My phone started vibrating on the edge of the coffee table, so hard it walked itself toward the floor, and I lunged for it like it was going to explode. I've been sitting there in the dark living room with one lamp on, the kind of pathetic, I'm totally not waiting up, lighting, staring at a cold plate of pasta I'd reheated twice. When I saw the unknown number, my stomach did this immediate dip, like my body recognized bad news faster than my brain could. I swiped to answer and forced my voice into something normal. Hello. A woman on the other end sounded out of breath and irritated in that professional way people get when they've been putting out fires all day. Hi, is this Jenna? I'm sorry to call you this late. This is Candace, Anya's manager. You're listed as her emergency contact. Emergency contact. My hand went sweaty around the phone. The lamp hummed softly, and somewhere outside a car door slammed. Yes, I said, but it came out thin. Is everything okay? Candace hesitated, and that tiny pause felt like a trapdoor opening. I don't know, she admitted. Anya texted me at 6, saying she was working late again and would be back in the office after dinner. But she hasn't been here since this afternoon, and she isn't answering. We had a client escalation, and I'm trying to find her. Is she with you? I stared at the hallway where Anya's shoes were supposed to be. Empty. Just a little mat by the door and the umbrella stand. My throat tightened like I'd swallowed something wrong. She told me she was still at work, I said, and I hated how I sounded like I was defending her to a stranger. She left at 5. She said she'd be late. Again. Candace's voice got quieter, less boss-y. Jenna, I'm really sorry. She left here at 3. She told me she had a dentist appointment. Another pause, like she was choosing her next words carefully. If she told you she was working, then she lied to one of us. The room went too still. I could hear the fridge kick on in the kitchen. I could hear my own breathing. Okay, I whispered because my brain was lagging behind the facts. Okay, I'll call her. Please do, Candace said, and then, almost gently, and if she calls you back, can you just have her contact me? I'm not trying to get her in trouble. I'm just worried. When the call ended, I sat there with the phone still against my ear for a second, listening to nothing. Then I pulled it away and stared at my reflection in the black screen. Wide eyes, hair shoved into a messy bun, lipstick worn off because I kept biting my bottom lip like it was a job. Anya didn't answer my first call. Straight to voicemail. I called again, and my heart started doing this ugly, fast thump like it was trying to climb out of my ribs. I texted, "Your manager just called me. Are you okay? Then, please answer." The 3 dots never appeared. It was the kind of moment where your brain starts offering you options like a menu you don't want to read. Maybe she lost her phone. Maybe she's in the bathroom. Maybe her car broke down. Maybe she got into an accident. That one made my hands go cold because it was the only explanation that still let me love her the way I did yesterday. Then Candace's words replayed, dentist appointment. I stood up so fast the coffee table wobbled. My knees felt weird like they might fold. I walked to the kitchen, opened and closed a drawer for no reason, then leaned on the counter because my body needed something solid. I kept thinking about how casual Anya had been at 5. Her quick kiss, her hand brushing my waist, her, "I'll be late, babe, don't wait up," like it was a normal Tuesday. It was a Tuesday, actually. That detail matters because Tuesdays were our try days. We'd been together almost 4 years, living together for 2, and somewhere in the last 6 months, we'd slipped into this routine where my life bent around hers. Anya worked at a mid-sized firm where everything was urgent and everyone stayed late and people wore exhaustion like a badge. I worked at a clinic, which meant my days were busy, but when I got home, I was home. I cooked. I did laundry. I listened to her talk about her coworkers like they were characters in a show I didn't watch. When she started saying, "working late again," more often, I told myself it was temporary. Promotions. Deadlines. "Just this quarter," she'd say. I'd nod and swallow the little sting of being alone in our apartment, try not to feel like a houseplant. The problem is, when you swallow feelings long enough, they start tasting like metal. I did something I'm not proud of. I opened Find My on my phone. We share locations for safety. That's what we told each other when we turned it on. Safety. Convenience. Trust. Anya's dot wasn't at the office. It wasn't moving on a road, either. It was sitting still near a strip of shops on the other side of town, close to a hotel I recognized because we'd looked at it once for a friend's wedding block. My mouth went dry. I zoomed in, then out, then in again like I could pinch to zoom my way into a different reality. I called her again. Voicemail. And then my phone buzzed with a text from her. Sorry, babe. Phone was dead. Still at work. Crazy night. Be home soon. Phone was dead. She texted that. With a dead phone. Something in me hardened. Not in a dramatic way. Not like a movie. More like a quiet click, the way a seatbelt locks when you pull too hard. My hand stopped shaking for a second, and that scared me more than the shaking. I grabbed my keys and left. The drive felt unreal. The streets were slick from a light rain, and everything outside the windshield looked blurred at the edges. I kept gripping the steering wheel tighter, then realizing my shoulders were up by my ears and forcing them down again. My head kept whispering, don't do this. Turn around. You're being paranoid. But my stomach was saying, you already know. The location led me to a parking lot behind a strip of shops, tucked near the hotel entrance. I parked across the lot and just sat there for a full minute, staring at the glow of the lobby windows. People walked in and out carrying small overnight bags like their lives were organized and simple. Then I saw Anya's car. Same little scuff on the rear bumper from when she backed into a pole last year. Same air freshener hanging from the mirror. My hand started shaking again, but I got out anyway. The air smelled like wet asphalt and cigarette smoke from someone smoking under an awning. My shoes squeaked on the pavement. I walked toward her car like I was sleepwalking, and every step felt too loud. The passenger seat was reclined back a little. I could see movement inside, two silhouettes. My brain tried to protect me by refusing to sharpen the picture, but then the interior light flicked on for a second, and it was like someone turned the contrast up on my life. Anya was in the driver's seat, turned toward the passenger side. Her hair was down. She never wears it down to work anymore because she says it's annoying. A man was beside her, close enough that his shoulder was pressed into hers. His hand was on her thigh like it belonged there. Not tentative, not oops, just placed. My throat made this tiny sound like a swallowed sob. I didn't realize I'd walked right up to the car until my knuckles were inches from the window. Anya looked up. Her face changed so fast it made me nauseous. Her eyes widened. Her mouth opened, then closed again like she couldn't find a lie that fit in time. The man followed her gaze, confused, and I saw his face clearly. Someone I'd seen before, just in passing. Nate, one of her co-workers. The guy she always described as so annoying and kind of mess. The guy whose name she said too often for someone who didn't matter. I knocked on the window. Not hard, not dramatic, just enough that the sound carried. Anya fumbled with the lock, hands shaking now too, and the window lowered a few inches. Warm air and the faint smell of her perfume spilled out like a slap. Jenna, she said, my name coming out like a warning. What are you doing here? I laughed once, small and sharp, because my body didn't know what else to do. Your boss called me, I said. My voice sounded strange, steady, almost bored, like I was reading facts off a page. Looking for you, because you weren't at work. Anya's eyes flicked to Nate, then back to me. Nate stared straight ahead like he'd suddenly become deeply interested in the hotel sign. Get out, I said, but it came out quieter than I expected. Both of you. Open the door. Anya's cheeks flushed, and for a split second her expression turned irritated, like I was embarrassing her. That tiny flash of annoyance did something vicious to my chest. Jenna, please, she whispered. Not here. Not here. Like the location was the problem. I stepped back and crossed my arms because if I didn't hold myself together physically, I felt like I would collapse. Where? I asked softly, would you prefer I find you doing this? Anya's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't get out of the car. She didn't shove his hand away. She just looked at me like she wanted me to do her emotional labor for her. Nate finally shifted, voice low. Anya, I should. Shut up. I snapped, and it surprised me how sharp it was. I wasn't even looking at him. I couldn't give him that much of me. Anya swallowed hard. It's complicated. I nodded slowly, like I was taking notes. No, I said. It's not. You lied to your boss. You lied to me. You told me working late again while you were here. With him. In your car. Behind a hotel. Her shoulders sagged like she'd been waiting for someone to say it out loud. I didn't mean for you to find out like this, she whispered. That sentence landed like a final stamp. Not denial. Not confusion. Just confirmation. I stepped back another pace and felt the rain miss my face. Yeah, I said, my voice finally shook. Me neither. I didn't scream. I didn't slap her. I didn't do anything that would make a satisfying clip. I just turned around and walked back to my car, hands numb, legs moving on autopilot. Behind me, I heard the car door open. I heard Anya call my name once. I didn't turn around. I drove home in silence. When I got there, I didn't go inside right away. I sat in the parking spot and stared at our dark windows until my eyes burned. Anya came home an hour later. She walked in like she was entering a crime scene. Quiet steps, careful breath, try not to make it worse just by existing. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my phone face down. I've been staring at a single fork on a napkin for 10 minutes like it had answers. She started crying immediately. Real tears, not cute tears. I'm sorry, she said, voice breaking. I'm so sorry. I didn't yell. I didn't have energy for yelling. I just looked at her and asked how long. She hesitated. That hesitation was its own confession. A couple months, she whispered. My chest tightened so hard it almost felt like laughing. A couple months, I repeated like the phrase would collapse under the weight of what it meant. So every time you said, working late again, I didn't plan it, she said quickly. It just happened. Nothing just happens for a couple months, I said. That takes planning. That takes lying. She tried to come closer, hands out like she could touch me back into loving her. I pushed my chair back and stood up because I couldn't stand being at her eye level. I want you to leave, I said, and my voice was so calm it scared me. Her face twisted. Jenna, please, this is our home. Not tonight, I said. Not with you in it. She froze like she expected me to soften. I didn't. Eventually, she went to the bedroom and packed a bag, zippers loud in the quiet. When she came back out, her eyes were swollen, hair messy, a stranger wearing my girlfriend's face. I love you, she whispered at the door. I didn't answer because I didn't know what love meant in her mouth anymore. The door shut, and the apartment was suddenly too quiet, like the air itself was waiting for me to decide what happens next. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. If you've been through something similar, finding out the truth because someone else accidentally pulled the thread, feel free to share your story in the comments.